sign all 4 of these, but I can give you.
You can keep a copy for yourself and just give Gerald the other one if you want.
Okay.
Second, just a draft. You might want to go over the important parts for Gerald.
Sure. Of course, first couple pages there, Carol, are the recitals,
Yeah.
which are incorporated. And one thing that Patrick kind of, and he may have talked with you, Jason, about is the preconditions there in paragraph 2. And kind of go
What
over,
page is that?
that's page 3 of 6. And toward the bottom of the page, you see paragraph 2. Those are the preconditions. And essentially, the hospital wouldn't be releasing those funds until these conditions are met. Now, most of these are pretty straightforward. That the county would provide the hospital its most recent audit and current budget, a written plan detailing the work to be performed in the restoration projects with the courthouse. It would include a timetable and cost estimates, which I don't know that we have all those yet, is that? But of course, when those are available, we would provide those to the hospital. A written plan detailing the additional maintenance or repair projects needed and planned, and that may be as simple as what our architects or the engineers have given us. The part D under that is a written 5-year plan demonstrating the financial ability of the county to meet its ongoing operation and maintenance costs. And again, that may be just as simple as providing the budget. I don't know. There were some discussions about that during the meeting.
Right.
About that, isn't that right, Jason?
Right. And
you can maybe speak to. I wasn't in those meetings.
Right.
But, you maybe
well,
speak a little bit to that provision.
What we kind of discussed on that, Gerald, was it's we're going to do our best and try to provide them everything they want.
Sure.
It was just to provide them a 5-year like operation and maintenance costs and specific cuts that we want to do. Might be a little bit difficult because you never know how the board's going to be set up years down the road or what other changes could be made. But we're going to work with them and get those answers to those questions for them as best we can.
Yeah, and I'm assuming they're satisfied with with that,
and they understand that.
They understand that essentially where we're at on that. So the other provisions, again, pretty straightforward. The bidding and contracting. Of course, the project would be bid out. They would want to see the advertisements for the bids and the bidding estimates and the scope of work and what we anticipate the work would be. Paragraph 5 is the dollar amount they would be making available to the county, which would be the $250,000 that is stipulated. That is specifically and only to be used for the courthouse project restoration on it.
Right.
So that cannot be used for
Paying bills.
Paying bills. Yeah, exactly. Can't be used for any operational costs, no wages, benefits, county employees, things of that sort. And then pretty much the remainder of the contract are typical contract provisions that would be applied, and no liens, of course, not assigning the contract, no third-party beneficiaries. Those are typical contractual provisions that are incorporated into essentially every contract. Jason, is there anything you want to add? Like I said, I was not present in those meetings when a lot of this was discussed, but it's pretty straightforward as to what they want us to provide to them in exchange for the funds for their renovation.
Yeah, and basically, what the hospital with the $250,000, we're looking at getting the building in a dry, just like we was with the city of Metropolis with the donation they're making, and that's the areas of the tuck pointing and the windows and things like that we can get done. And, That's the main thing, and we just gotta show that it's all done completely and correct, and the engineer signs off on it, and there shows no liens or anything on the work that's been done, and then we get the money after that.
Right.
Yeah.
The engineers would be able to provide a lot of this documentation
Mhm.
that they would want. Of course, they would, I'm presuming they would be responsible for, at least I would suggest probably having them do the bidding process and make
Right.
sure we're, the scope of work is, because that's what we ran into with kind of the tough point. There was some questions about what the scope of work needed to be, so they could shore that up a little bit. A lot of those, like I said, documents would come from, as far as scope of work, project, bidding costs, actual costs of the work would come from the architect and engineer. As you see, the contract has been executed by the hospital district. Paul Henry, as president, has signed on their behalf. And Gerald, you'd be signing then on behalf, as chairman of the county board on behalf of the.
Did have a question there, and it has nothing to do with it. Yes, number 10.
Yes.
The subcontractors and is there two different spellings on that word? Is that why they've got that like that?
Let me find where you're.
Second
looking at.
sentence.
Contractors, subcontractors, and subcontractors.
Okay, that would be if a subcontractor hired someone else.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
I see.
Any other questions that you saw that is going through
No,
there that
I think
saw?
pretty well
So
self-explanatory.
I think you would need to
Make the motion.
motion and
Yeah.
vote to accept that.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the agreement between Massac County Hospital and the Massac County Board for this district regarding courthouse restoration contract.
I'll second that.
When I'm going to hand those to you, we'll execute all four of those. Those are all four originals.
Thank you for coming, explaining all this.
Yeah, not a problem. I apologize again for running late.
So you're busy.
Right.
Was there also an issue that Joe had said was bringing?
His lady already came in here and we went over it.
Okay.
She was here prior.
Was a decision made on that?
Yes. To extend that another 8 weeks.
8 weeks, okay. Yeah, that was going to be the
It'll be a total of 12.
total count. That was going to be what you recommended.
Yeah.
Jason, wasn't there some unanswered questions on that?
So what?
We had some unanswered questions. What to do if we ran out of time?
Well, and if we need to go to into closed session and we want to discuss that a little bit further, we can do that. There were some questions that were raised.
Or do you think he should just call Leah directly and ask her,
Can
can you do that?
Yeah.
Just call her at the highway department.
Yeah. Did she have some additional questions on that?
She had a few that she was a little bit gray on that maybe you could help explain to her.
Okay. Sure.
yeah,
Unless you want to go in closed session and we discuss.
no, I think that's fine.
Okay.
They can work it out.
Okay. I'm also going to go ahead and date these. today. I'm going to leave you want one copy or do you need multiple copies?
One's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you.
They were asking about the court system account. We still don't have any money in there, right?
County court system, we try to, pay the bills that we can out of it.
Yeah, 'cause
and whatever's left, yeah,
I
that's-
was looking just right here, we got $5,205, a $3,500 one, and $1,500, so it's like $10,000.
Yeah, last check, I think it was about 2,000, was about what was in there,
So should we just wait, have that account build up before we pay these bills?
Can't do that.
It
They'll
won't.
start
Oh, it won't.
griping before then.
Yeah, and they won't build up fast enough to pay those, they'll have more on top of it.
So tell them we can pay them out of county general and then just.
Are we keeping like a total, how much we're taking out of county?
Chrissy
general?
is. Chrissy is, she's keeping a running total.
It was where, we'd pay their bills, like the phone bill or,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then once there was enough in there to reimburse us, we would reimburse, but those right there. Yeah.
Gerald, you got anything for us?
I guess that, what we're gonna pay that 1,800.
I don't know, I hadn't seen the statement, is the claim of Judge Jackson for the basement of the courthouse?
I don't know if you're going to.
Yeah, I
Did he
mean,
come up this morning?
I hadn't seen it.
He's supposed to bring the bill up this morning.
1,800.
Yeah, for that remodel down there. He said that from the county general. He talked about one of those funds, automation, or the other one. We can pay some stuff out, not this, but we'll be able to pay some stuff, I guess different categories out of that fund. I'll find out what particulars
Or
are.
you in, let us know which ones he wants to pay and we'll get him some claim sheets.
Okay.
So he can get them filled out.
If we could pay these appointed attorneys out of the automation, that would be
Yeah.
I don't think we can.
We can pay some other stuff, bring up some money to pay maybe the court attorneys. Yeah, tell them to holler.
Connolly, and
Yeah.
that's, it's interesting. Is it my phone? It is. Rochelle, Texas, I don't think so.
Uh,
I've never heard of it.
Don't know anybody there.
What's that?
I say you don't know anybody there.
No, no. But anyway, it's not moving as quick as I'd like yet, but I think it will once we get our process figured out. And I think it's gonna save us quite a bit.
Now, what does that entail, Gary?
Well, just physically,
I mean,
it's
you have
a
maps
tech-
down.
it's a technical skill to be able to go into the map program and make changes with the map.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, you're dealing with degrees and you're dealing with legal descriptions and.
Well, would that be like an add-on to a house? Would that be considered what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about legal descriptions on maps of properties that are owned.
Well, I mean, a map, would that be a map of a, I mean?
No, it's your site. Like if you're, like
Okay.
you're on what, how many acres? 13,
No,
10?
5.
5 acres? Okay, so let's say you split off a couple of acres
Uh-huh.
to give to a sibling or a child or whomever. Then we would go in there and make that change in that map and assign new PIN numbers so that we can assign a new, for tax
Okay.
purposes.
Okay.
But a lot of people think that those things are legal documents, and they're not. Your deed is your legal document.
Well, now, if somebody does that, say I did that, when would that map be changed?
Well, that's when we do it.
Through the
I
year, or
cut-
just
yeah,
like an audit?
I do it through the year, but I have a cutoff date of like June 30th, so that I have to have an end date,
Yeah.
so that I can then finish the tax cycle, what it values and et cetera, to
Yeah.
get that done. So between now and, my cutoff date is June 30th to do map changes, but it may be, the end of July before we get them all completed. And then once we get them completed, then we'll assign values to all those parcel numbers, and then we'll wrap it up. And I'm hoping to publish in the middle of August, which I think, the quicker we can get information out to the taxpayer so that they can, know
Prepare.
something,
Yeah.
prepare, I think it's the best. When you make things due, you don't have to change things. When you make them due, you can leave them the same. But if we can get tax bills out in May to people so that they know in August and October, November, whatever, that this is what it's gonna be, it gives them more time to prepare. Instead of, here it is, here's your bill, 30 days out, you owe this.
Mhm.
And they're like, usually that's when you find out how mad people are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And nobody likes to pay taxes. I think people are starting to understand a little better about the process of understanding that the tax bill is high because of your school districts.
Yeah.
That's where most of your tax dollars are going.
I don't get very near the complaints that I used to get.
Well, but nobody likes to, but the tax rates have pretty much been holding steady, and I think they'll continue to hold steady, because again, PTEL has pretty much eliminated that ability
Yeah.
to ask for or get or receive more money.
Gary, there's a woman, well, I told you about it, Lorna Rogers. She lives in a family's house that she's raised in, and her daughter bought another one beside her, and I don't know what all the deal is. But
Is that the one on 10th Street?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I looked
She
at
don't
all that.
understand. She don't
Well,
understand.
and it may be, part of it maybe is how she has it set up as far as, like, she may just be the daughter may be living there and not getting any exemptions.
Well, she may be.
And,
Well,
and because maybe she's, again, you gotta find out who owns it. You're only entitled as a homeowner to one set of exemptions.
Right.
Although, there's some, if you had 2 houses, you could split the exemptions in half, but you can't get 2 full exemptions on 2 different pieces of property, and that's,
Well, she's thinking I guess the daughter, maybe she bought the house. I don't know.
well, and here's
She's
what
thinking she's
happens.
paying-
But people buy houses, and here's how they buy them, Gerald. They'll buy them contract for deed, but they'll never record anything in the clerk's office. So how am I supposed to know what they've done if they don't record it? And if they don't record it, then they're not entitled to necessarily the exemptions unless they can show ownership or show interest or show something that says, I have an interest in the property, I'm responsible for the tax bills, so therefore I'm entitled to these exemptions.
Right.
But unless they do that, I have no way of knowing.
Well, there's about 3 or 4 houses there.
Yeah. I've looked at it before, but
Okay.
I don't think there's nothing there to tell me
Yeah.
that this person does own it or that they're entitled to some exemptions,
Yeah.
but that's where she needs to come down and talk to our people in the office and find out.
Okay.
A lot of times, like I said, they don't, you guys hear the complaints, but they need to come down and talk to us.
Okay.
We're-
Did I tell you about the one the other day that hadn't paid taxes in 3 years because once they bought the house to contract the deed, then they came down, they got the exemption, homestead exemption, and they didn't think they had to pay taxes anymore.
Oh, because they got the homestead exemption. But didn't they still get a tax bill?
That's what I asked. I said, didn't you receive a tax? We just thought it was a mistake. I said, why didn't you call and ask?
Yeah. And see, that's where, again, we get caught up in this stuff, and it's like,
Yeah.
we can't, you know, it's like I tell people, Gerald, just like closings, and people make deals in real estate, and they close these things. They don't talk to my office or myself before they buy the property,
Yeah.
and they don't talk to us before they close it. So we don't know until we get that recorded deed what happened. And by then, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm
And
sorry.
We'll take, for instance, if somebody buys a house that their grandparents own, for example, they pay little or no tax.
Right.
Okay?
Because they
And
had
then
this.
now,
Yeah.
they've got this huge tax bill.
That's right.
But they're
Because
expected it to be
they-
exactly what grandma paid.
Because grandma had the senior exemption and it
Exactly.
freezes and
Yeah.
therefore, you know, and I've had that happen,
Sure.
you know, and it does
Several
happen.
times.
But that's where, again, when, you know, to me, it's real estate 101, when they close these, that should be disclosed to them before they sign the papers, that you do realize
That your tax bill.
that your tax bill is not gonna be this, because these exemptions will be coming off in a year. So 2 years from now, your $100 tax bill may be $1,500.
Right. Exactly.
So, well, Jason, we had 2 bids,
Good.
one for $49,000 from Mott Excavating and one for $16,500 from
Freeman.
Freeman Environmental Services, from Sean Freeman. We need to move forward on this.
Okay.
I need you guys'
Blessing.
blessing on
Do
what
we
we
need to
want
make
to
a
do.
motion and take one of those? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
I think, when you want to take I think I would take a motion to accept Freeman's Excavating for the amount of,
Freeman Environmental.
Environmental for $16,500.
for $16,500.
I'll second that.
Okay.
And then how do you want me to both send them, I'll send them both a letter, telling them of the decision, and then,
Yeah.
and then ask to make sure we got all the paperwork, proper paperwork from Freeman's, and then, of course, before he even thinks about going out there and doing anything, that he call us.
Yeah, and then.
Because I want to be out there to make sure.
And you need to notify Patrick.
Yes,
Also.
yeah, I need to.
Yeah. you do
Okay.
that.
Sounds
But do you think that's the proper way, just send them a letter and a phone call?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah, just tell them, Mr. Mott, that,
Appreciate the bid.
Yeah,
and everything.
and, but we have chosen Freeman Environmental if you want to. Or you don't even have to say that.
Okay, I think that's all I've got for now. Unless you guys got any questions or anything. Like I said, we're moving along with the tax cycle, and I'm hoping to publish in August.
Okay.
So, and things are still looking pretty accurate and everything from what I can see. I am gonna take a look at Market Street downtown, commercial buildings.
Yeah.
Do a lot of work on there. yeah.
Well, I need to reassess some of those. Some of them are a little high. So, and basically by that, I need to drop the value overall a little bit. And since that's there to do, I think maybe it'd be wise to go ahead and lower some of this commercial stuff that is not selling. I got enough data now to tell me that some of this stuff is a little high. Okay.
Jerry, go out there on Mount Mission, a couple minutes too fast.
And race them?
No.
Gerald. I mean, I have enough people too scared to come down my house. I've heard twice. They said, well, we heard that we come in there that you're going to raise our taxes. And I'm like, it's not my job. It's we got your value right, yes or no? You know?
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, guys. Have a nice
Thank you.
day.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, man.
Come on up, sit down.
I think I'm next. Hey guys, good to meet you. I'm Peyton.
I'm Jason.
Jason.
Sure.
Long table. So, won't take a lot of your time. So I was called down here to work on Harrah's parking lot. I'm the energy coordinator for cable electric. So anytime anyone calls us in, I'll do an energy audit. I'll see if there's ways we can save them money. And then also I'll go out and find rebates and get them money for the project. And while I was there, I noticed that you guys have some type of post lights in that parking lot there, and then also along the streets. You may not be aware of it, but you actually qualify for Ameren rebates to switch over to LED.
And is this down here at the river, you mean?
Yeah, right by Harris, there's these black post top.
That'd be the city of
That'd be the
Metropolis.
city.
The city itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is everyone qualifies, government, who pays Ameren of any kind. So this building here, any other buildings you may operate or anything like that, they qualify for the rebate. It's pretty simple to calculate. It's 35 cents per watt reduced. So like for example, this right here, you've got a 2 lamp TA 32 watt, so it's about a 60 watt. We can reduce that down to 30. So, you know, we can get you a good $3-4 off each fixture, and those are pretty efficient anyway. So,
Let me ask you this, the city, I think buys electricity and they turn and sell it back to the residents, but that we would still be eligible even though they're buying it from them?
yes, as long as they get it from Ameren, which I've already checked, everyone in this region of Metropolis.
Okay.
So everyone qualifies, and it's a really cool rebate because nonprofit, religious organizations, government organizations, industrial, commercial, doesn't matter. Everything but residential is covered underneath it. So typically what I do is, an organization will give me a building to do an audit of. So I'll walk through and I'll tally down what lights you have. We'll do like chillers and boilers and things like that as well, but I doubt you guys have much of a need for that.
We do have a boiler.
You do? Okay. That's something we'll take a look at. The payback is not near as good as LED. LED will pay for itself in 2 years to 3 years at worst. Boilers, 10 years. The payback's just not as attractive. But yeah, so typically I'll take a list of all the lights you have. I'll give suggestions. I'll find the most rebates we can get for those suggestions. And then I'll provide you guys with a report saying exactly how quick it'll pay for itself, how much it'll save you yearly, and how much it'll save over its lifetime.
Now, what do you take that off the bill, or do you send us?
That's the nice thing about the rebate is they actually pay us direct. So I'll actually reduce our initial price to you guys. So there's no rebate on your end to manage or handle or anything, nothing on the back end.
What does it cost to get an audit done?
I'm not sure of that. Yeah.
Be happy to get that done, but we can audit.
We can't 4 or 5 buildings.
Okay, yeah. If you guys, what I need most of is if you have like a maintenance guy, whoever does the lighting and things like that. Like buildings like this, it's not bad because these are very easy to tell what they are. But if you have any buildings with high ceilings, it's hard for me to tell what it is, and I don't like to guess. I like to scientifically show you what you have. So if there's someone who could potentially meet me at the buildings and talk to me about the lights they have there, like I said, I've been doing this long enough, I can tell you what they have, but it just helps. But I'm free all this next week. I'll be in this area. So if you guys want, I can knock out all your buildings and have reports within a week or 2 weeks.
I may have a card.
What buildings were you gonna show them, which ones?
County, would that qualify in the school building?
Yeah, that'd be good, that school and the RE. How about the highway department out
Yeah,
there?
yeah, well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Highway department.
Yeah,
I
Joe's
guess
office.
jail.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah, and also schools qualify. I don't know if I listed that. So if you have any in your region,
Or we have a regional office of education that we have the building.
yeah, typically most schools have like recessed 2-by-4 ceilings, and you can just do like bulb retrofits that pay for themselves in a year. So that's typically what we do for schools and nonprofit.
What's the lifetime of those bulbs? How long do they usually last?
So those are a little different. So with fluorescent and metal halide and all that, you have your rated light, so 30,000 hours. So what they did was they got a lot of 100 lights, they put a timer, turned them on, and saw when half were out. With LED, they actually don't do that. They won't go out unless the manufacturer messed up. They'll just get dimmer over time. So the ones like full fixture are rated anywhere between 50 to 500,000 hours. So that means at, for example, 50,000 hours, they'll be 30% dimmer. The bulb retrofits are 50 as well. So it heavily depends on how much you pay and the situation. Like outdoor lighting, I can get all the way up to 400 to 500,000 hours pretty easily. And to put that in perspective, that's 40 to 50 years there of lighting. Whereas inside, if you just do a bulb, it's 50,000 hours, so about 10 years, something like that. If you do a full fixture, 15 to 20 years. So that's something that the ROI takes into account as well, is savings over lifetime. Because you'll notice that the savings over lifetime of a fixture replacement is much better than the savings of a full replacement. But we can look at both. That's no problem. And while we're here, are there any bigger businesses or anything like that we should look at? I'm already talking to Honeywell right now to do that. There's a steam plant or something. I saw some big stacks off in the distance.
Electric energy, down
Okay.
job.
Okay.
Just,
I don't know if
10
it's
miles
qualified or
down the
hammered
road.
that. Yeah.
and there's gas companies down there also, natural
Okay.
gas,
Okay.
and Lafarge, cement company.
The parts, yeah, okay. Yeah, we did another one of the facilities. Well,
Thank
guys
you.
have any questions?
No, I think Gerald's gonna give you his number.
There's my card right there,
Perfect, perfect. And do you think you'll be free this next week?
it's on the other side.
You did put your number, right?
Yes.
Make sure you did put mine up.
That wouldn't work. All right, easy enough. Cool. Well, I won't take up any more of your time. Any more questions or anything? No?
There's several businesses around, that can do, for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're the big grocery store. I have an audit there this afternoon, and the dealership, I believe it's Ford dealership. They've got a location there and one in Carbondale we're going to look at. So those are all the big ones. Typically, I look for outdoor lighting, and then because that has an amazing payback, and then we'll move to indoor lighting there. So that's kind of our thought process.
Both down there, they probably use a lot of power.
It was awful nice to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Oh, absolutely. Good to